Alright, Indonesia sucks. Day 8. Yuck. Anyway, having kind of a cruddy day. I feel kind of cruddy. It's just all so depressing. And that's it. Yeah. I can't put it in my head somewhere. Life is can be just so brutally rough and difficult. And, when people just look for excuses to make it worse, it's just like, what the hell? What's going on there? So anyway, there's this idea that, it's not Indonesia's fault or something, or it's not the people of Indonesia and all that kind of stuff. And it sort of is. I mean, you got to take some responsibility as individuals for what you're part of. Just as I felt not very responsible. That would be the wrong way to put it. I guess I would say somebody's entitled. There are people who are entitled to hate America for the damage it's done to their lives or their world or their people. And I certainly wouldn't argue that they don't have that right to find it unacceptable, because I find it unacceptable. And beyond that, so you're just looking at the practicalities of it. So the argument I'll play with in this video, just because I'll get off the hate part for a little while, but I really don't want to do that, actually. But anyway, so there's this legal theory. If you don't want people to jaywalk, what you could do is let people jaywalk, except 1 in a million jaywalkers you could execute, publicly execute them for jaywalking. Now, that would be a way of conforming people to behavior, but in a way it would be a kind of entrapment, right? Because people would always be thinking, well, I'm not going to be the 1 in a million, they're not going to bother with me. They never enforce this law. Other people are doing it, and they're going to feel like they can do it. So in a way, it's sort of like when people speed. I think they sort of know in the back of their head, this is a good way to get killed, speeding on the highway. I've seen pictures in the paper. Weird shit can happen to you. Very bad shit can happen when you're speeding. Because you're not going to be able to control it, and everything gets out of control much worse, and blah, blah, blah. And so, but they say, I'll be lucky. It's not going to happen to me. And that's sort of a natural, sort of a tendency of people anyway, to do that. And so in a way, the law just becomes entrapment. When you have a law where you're using a few victims to send a message, it's just an entrapment then. Because the number of people you're allowing to slip through your fingers is so great. Now, the other argument I would apply to this circumstance, which makes Indonesia worthy of your wrath, your hatred, is that I think this law exists for convenience. So it's like if we had a draconian anti-jaywalking law, where we wrote it in the book that, the penalty could be 25 years in prison, and it was on the books, but we never enforced it. Except when there was some shithead. So like OJ gets off, and we know he's guilty as fuck. So then we just catch him for jaywalking and screw him over with that law. Or we don't like somebody's atheism in our country, and so then we decide we're going to nail him with one of our laws that we never enforce. That's what I think happened in this case. I think clearly it's going to be hard to find these people being prosecuted for 2 marijuanas under the strictest written law. And I think the prosecutions, if somebody took the time to look into it, they would find that there was a pattern to the prosecutions. That it was the people, that there was a tendency towards a profiling of the victims, and I think that's probably going to be the truth. But regardless, it doesn't. I don't need that as a more of an excuse. There's already enough of an excuse to say this is not acceptable. I can't. All I have to do is go as far as it could have been me. All I need to do is think about the fact that it's just not right. It's a person's life is ruined for a non-crime. I mean, an event that isn't overtly criminal. It's only in principle wrong based on some notion of what you want in a civilization. And what they're expecting is kind of wrong in the first place. So anyway, going for my run. And feeling like crap, so I think I'll just see you later and such.